Hey, what's up, traders? This is the watch list video for Tuesday, May 10th. Starting off with the daily on the SPY. Kind of an ugly day, right? We came down, I don't know, like a week ago, put in a nice bottom three, like a 3 day bounce, then kind of a retest. And so, as I said in chat today almost feels like day one of a new leg down for the SPY. Now, I've never made any money predicting what the SPY is going to do over the next day or week or anything like that. I'm just saying it. I've been talking about the weakness for a while, and it certainly feels pretty weak. Every night, one of my scans I look at is bounce plays, potential bounce plays, and some of the parameters for one of my bounce play scans are they have to be down at least 4 days in a row. And today, the day I run the scan, in other words, at least the fourth day down in a row for a stock, it's got to be down at least 5%. And, in a strong market, that might spit out three stocks. If the market had a little weakness, I might see 7, 8, maybe 10. And there were a couple pages of them today. So it's kind of a neat inside way to tell just how weak the market is. There was a lot of them. But at the same time, you could argue we've fallen on the SPY from 430 down to below 400 in 3 sessions. So we're also susceptible, I'm not sure how to put it, but certainly susceptible to, if you're thinking short, you're susceptible to a snapback bounce, right? So I've got a lot of bounce plays on my watch list. And keep in mind, I'm in cash every night. I know I say this in pretty much every video, but I always am trying to be aware of the fact that this might be somebody's first day ever listening to my voice, right? Ever watching me. So for that reason, I like to let people know I'm a day trader, a pure day trader, by the pure definition of it, in that I don't hold overnight. So I'm looking for stocks that might give me an A+ setup and a trade tomorrow. That's the way it works, the way I do it. All right. So one quick highlight, Brian V again makes the highlight reel. He mentioned AUST, and I think it looked about like this. And his idea was basically over the high of day break. He worded it something like maybe reversal from the lows, off the lows of the IPO slaughtering, right? Which there's the daily. So it IPO'd, and slaughtering is probably a fair assessment. And so he put out the idea, basically an opening range breakout, and it went nuts from there. So I thought that was a neat little idea. I actually didn't take the trade, but it was a good idea. I only took 1 or 2 trades today and made more in after hours on UPST, bidding on a bounce than I did all day. So that's just the nature of the market right now. But I spend a lot of the day posting in chat and on Twitter and StockTwits. My little trader sayings, like, if there's nothing to trade, trade nothing. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're a day trader like me, there's never a point at which you have to be in something, right? So when nothing's setting up, or when the overall market has you spooked, or it's really weak or whatever, that's the beauty of being a day trader. You just sit in cash, right? All right. Anyway, so what are we watching for tomorrow? It's kind of a lengthy list, actually, but for one, when the market's really weak, I always want to find pockets of relative strength and look for those for potential longs. So ZNTE is one of them, and it happened to top out right at the half number 1150. Held up really well in a weak tape, so I definitely want to watch this one. BWV, super interesting, massive volume about a week ago, and it topped out at 712, and then today, massive volume, and topped out at 643 before settling in at 544, so 545, whatever. So I want to watch that one. EHTH, very strong in an ugly market. Think about that. So we're popped for a couple days, and now we're kind of flagging sideways. Definitely goes on long watch. SKYH. This doesn't look like much, but on Friday, it went from a low of 575 to a high of 835. That's actually a huge percentage move. And then today kind of gave a quiet inside day. Another stock that's strong relative to the market, so looking for a possible third day play there. Speaking of relative strength, CYN starting to curl back up. That one goes on watch. MDVL, another relative strength stock, so we're going to watch that one. And now a bunch of bounce plays. You ready? And remember, these are ugly charts, but I'm looking for potential intraday bounces tomorrow, and I'll only take that in any of them if I get an A+ setup. So FRPT is one of them. And a lot of the reasons some of these go on Bounce Watch is they've been on Bounce Watch for a day or two, and they just put in another red day. So I can't, how's this for some great English? I can't not watch them until I get a setup, right? So in other words, it lands back on my bounce playlist. Same with CRWD. That's just the definition of shape change. It's kind of climbing, squeaking down, and then whoosh, right? And you get that increasing volume. Did take out support, but it's come a long way to do that. So I don't look at that and say, well, now it can't bounce. I look at it and think it's actually got pretty good potential for a setup that we look for, right? Same thing with TNDM. It was on Bounce Watch yesterday, so it goes back on Bounce Watch today. That's simple as that. TUP, Tupperware, just decimated, looking for a snapback bounce. Apple, whenever the market's really weak, Apple's one of my go-to watches, especially if it's got some kind of chart setup. And, you know, it's straight down for like a week, you know, with the market, right? But it had a really nice bounce mid-March right off the 150 area. So if it sells off in the morning and takes out 150 to the downside, I will be watching it for a potential reversal to the upside. So that puts Apple on watch. What's SEAS is SeaWorld. You know, like a lot of other charts, really beaten up. You look to the left and it's bounced pretty nicely off this area here and here, a little higher here, a little higher here, but pretty beaten up. And just from personal experience, I got some pretty good roller coasters there. So if you think SeaWorld and you think, well, Shamu's over and the activists have put a stop to that, and I'm not even arguing that they should, because, you know, SeaWorld, if you're anywhere near it, it's a pretty fun place to go. It's got some good roller coasters. And this is from a guy who rode Hagrid's and Velocicoaster yesterday when that was at Universal, and both are amazing. So kind of a roller coaster fan. So anyway, that is not a reason to take SeaWorld, but we do have, as a in day trader speak, we do have downside shape into some support. All right. BHC. If these were 5-minute candles and it looked like this, I would be in the chat room saying I'm watching this for a reversal, right? They're daily candles, but that doesn't change my thinking. It is just accelerating to the downside, volume's increasing. It almost looks like the candlestick is reaching out for the volume stick, and that is one of my favorite looks for a potential bounce. So that is an interesting one. A couple more, TTWO, which is I think they're the makers of Grand Theft Auto, and I don't know how many other games, but again, you kind of get that accelerating to the downside, looking for a snapback bounce. And then Coin, which I would have to assume is just falling with Bitcoin, which Bitcoin, I don't trade Bitcoin, but I looked at the chart today, and it's down. Let me glance at it real quick so I don't misspeak. As I'm talking, it's right about 30,000. It's pretty close to 30,000, which is a pretty interesting area for a bounce on the chart for Bitcoin. So, and this thing is pretty beaten up. It's fallen from 132.81 just 4 sessions ago, you know, down to whatever. It closed at 83.51. So another big volume today. Another decent scenario for a possible snapback bounce. All right, that's a lot to process. We'll also look for gappers in the pre-market, and I will see everybody in the chat room in the morning.